Okay, so we're going to look at decimals, and you have two types of decimals. Terminating decimals are decimals that don't go on forever. So if the decimal just stops, like 877 at the end, or 3.2, you could assume that there's an infinite amount of zeros after the number. That's fine. So if it's just zeros, that means it's a terminating decimal. Then you have another type of decimal, recurring decimals. Decimal numbers that go on forever. These will have a dot above a number. So that looks like, I've done in the example here, a third. If you put that into your calculator, it gives you 0.3 with a dot above it. And this actually means 0.333333333, and the 3's just continue forever. That's what I've written there in red. This dot means the 3 repeats forever. And I'd like if you guys wrote all these notes onto your copybooks. So decimals, and if we add today's date as well, which is the 29th of January. Now, another example here for recurring decimals is 2/3. And 2/3, if you put that into the calculator, it will give you 0.6 with a dot above it. And this time, it's a 6 that's going to continue on forever. And if we actually rounded that to 2 decimal places, you'd be wanting to keep them too. So you look at the third decimal place. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that means this changes to a 7. And that is how you round it to 2 decimal places. Example 3 then is a 7th. If you put that into the calculator, it would give you this. Notice there is 2 dots here and here. That means the pattern 142857 is what repeats forever. So you can see the pattern once here, once here, once here, and it would just keep going on forever. So you just need to know what type of numbers they are. They are recurring decimals. The other kind are terminating decimals. And then we have some practice. So again, write these down into your copybooks and write the question. Number of decimal places specified. So with the first one, 2 dp means 2 decimal places. So we have touched on rounding before. If we want to keep 2 decimal places, we look at the 4. So we look at the third digit after the decimal point. If we want to keep 2 decimal places, we look at the third digit after the decimal point. And if it's 5 or more, you round up. Seeing that 4 is less, it's less than 5, so the answer is just 5.78. Now the next one is asking for 3 decimal places. So we want to keep 3. We have to look at the fourth one. So if you want to keep 3, look at the fourth one. Is it 5 or more? It is. So that means the digit before it is going to go up 1. So you got 5.977. And that's that rounded to 3 decimal places. Now 4 decimal places, I thought that was a highlighter. 4 decimal places. So if we want to keep 4 digits after the point, we have to look at the 5th digit after the point. Is it 5 or more? It is. And the 9 makes the digit beside it go up 1. So you have 127.987, and if you add 1 to 8, you get 9. And that's all you have to do for that. Another topic then we have is significant figures. So that's your title. And we're going to read this together. So write this big number to 2 significant figures. 2 significant figures means the final answer must include 2 digits and then is rounded off from there. And you will see examples of this now. Step 1, we need to round the number so it's just 2 digits because it said 2 significant figures, and as many zeros as necessary. So this number 2356, it's closer to 2356. It's closer to 2400 than 2300. So that's your answer. Because you want to keep 2. You look at the next one. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that added 1 to the digit beside it. And that is your answer. The next one. Write 18,427 to 3 significant figures. Well, we want to keep 3. So we look at this digit. Is it 5 or more? No. So the answer would be 18400. That's what they have here. And they're just saying it's closer to 18,400 and 18,500. And just highlight that. Now we're going to do some questions. And all of these need to be rounded to 3 significant figures. So this here would be 0. Your 3 significant figures here start there. The zeros in front of it don't actually count. So we'll make a wee note. They're called leading zeros. Leading zeros are not significant. So they looked at 1, 2, 3. Is that 5 or more? Yes. So that's why that changed to 8. Now, we want to keep 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Is 3 bigger than 5? No. So your answer is 0. How many zeros had we? 3. And then 6, 5, 4. It doesn't change. And then the next one. We want to keep 3 significant figures. Look at the next digit. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that's going to add 1 to the digit before it. 19700 will be your answer. Then 3 digits here. You look at this digit. Is it 5 or more? No. So that one would just be 2, 2, 3, and instead of 4, 4, they've changed it to 0. You can put a comma in here. Your point is at the end. You can put in 0.0. Doesn't really matter. And then you have this number. These are examples, and you should write these into your copy. Make a little table for yourself. If you make good notes now, you'll not be worried about your notes at the end of the year because it'll be nice and neat and tidy and easy to study. So you want to get significant figures and a different amount of decimal places for each of these numbers. So the first one, to 3 significant figures, you want to look and keep this much of it. So you look at that one. Is 1 smaller, bigger than 5? It's smaller. So that's to 3 significant figures. And then decimal places is different, where we only care about what happens after the point. Is that 5 or more? Yes. So that's why it's changed to a 2 at the end. And that's 3 decimal places. This one's asking you to do it to 2. So we have to do it to 2 decimal places and to 2 significant figures. So 2 significant figures is actually just going to be those, and then all the rest are going to go to 0. So 2, 1, that's already a 0, so it stays a 0. And then all of that goes to 0, so you could have in here 0.000, but sure, that would be unnecessary because we'd have to write zeros for a long time then. And then we're just going to look at it to decimal places. So decimal places are there. So that's 2 decimal places. You look at the 9. Is it bigger than 5? Yes. So you have to add a digit there. So that's why you get 9. And to 2 significant figures, that would turn, you have 2 there, 1, 5. You look at the 6, is it 5 or more? Yeah. So that adds 1 to that 5, so you get 1600. And decimal places, we're going to look at 2 digits after the point, and the decider is the third one. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that changes to a 3. Hopefully that helps you guys figure out the difference between decimal places and significant figures. This one is to 2 significant figures. This one is also to 2 significant figures. This one is 2 decimal places and 2 decimal places. You have another example you can read there if you like, and try these exercises before our next class. So I'm going to underline the important parts here. State whether each of the following are terminating, reoccurring, or neither. So you have a dot above that 7, and they have done out the next step for us. They've done all the 7s. The dot 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 at the end saying that 7 just continues. So that one looks like it's reoccurring. So in your copybook, write out that it's reoccurring. This one has the dots. So that pattern 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 goes on and on and on forever. So maybe that's the same kind. This one, there's no dots. Looks like that is it. That one would be terminating because it just stops there. And if you were to add in numbers, it would be 0 that you're adding in. So it's terminating. And then you're going to practice some rounding. So these are going to be rounding decimal places. So you just fill in the table. So for the first one, 2 decimal places, you want to keep that. Look at the 9. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So you're going to get 12.42. Then the next one, it's going to look at 1 decimal place. You want to keep that. Look at the 1. Is it 5 or more? No. So you just get 12.4. And then rounding to the nearest whole number, you look at the first decimal place. Is it 5 or more? It's not for us here in this question. So the nearest whole number is 12. You could put in 12.0. It's the same thing. 12 is fine as well. Then you can finish that off. Significant figures, so we want to write 3 significant figures. That's our first 3. The 8 is definitely bigger than 5, so that turns to 2, 1, 8. The next one, 2 significant figures. We want to keep the first 2. Is 7 bigger than 5? Yes. So it turns to 2, 2, 0. Then 1 significant figure. I want to keep that much. Is 1 bigger than 5? No. So nothing moves up at all, and the other digits just turn to 0. And that is that line complete. You could also try number 4, a fraction. That's the same as 0.5 and rounded to 1 decimal place. It's still just 0.5. 1/4 is 0.25, and rounded to 1 decimal place, it's just going to be 0. Is the next one 5 more? Yes, so it's going to be 0.3. And some of these, this one, I did that one earlier, and an example up here. There it is. I've rounded it to 2 decimal places. This question asks you to round it to 1 decimal place. So hopefully you can finish that. These questions here are optional. It would be great if you have the time. It would really benefit you all to do it. But if you don't have the time, just get those questions there done, 1 to 4. Thanks for listening.